Welcome everyone, today is a release video on the Smonster Kit. So the 3.5 has been uploaded on the Gumroad, and we'll start talking about the UV tools and Bugfix and the menu and icons refresh. So let's see and dive into Model. Okay, so we'll open an empty scene related to the UV tools. So over here, open it. We have the object, we have the selected UV channel, and I will open the menu. So I will press Ctrl Q, UV tools, and over here you see that one of the changes that I've made are to expose those different options that usually you have under the preferences. So now it's a bit longer and it takes much higher space, of course, but it lets you to change your options over your work. So those are the same as those elements over there in the preferences. So I will put this on the side, and let's see, we have the default options are set like this. So you have the automatically the auto hide polygons on, the auto fix flipped UVs, and the auto repact and the auto relax UVs on the unwrapped and only on the unwrapped elements. So let's see. What you have also is the rework Smarter Production Unwrap menu. So over here now we have a bunch of new icons that define the planar packing, the planar projection, the cylindrical one, and the unwrap over here, as well as those specific to the rectangle unwrap. You have also the Smart Orient features over here, and so yeah, you have all the different menus now. So here, for instance, I made a selection, and you can unwrap this using different methods. So over here I just hide the work plane, and you see that the world orientation, the object have a different orientation than what is in the world, but the center is showing what you will use for the planar projection and the cylindrical one. So for instance, I will start with the planar, and I can access to this menu over here by pressing the Q key into the 3D viewport. So in the Q key, I will go to this planar, SP planar, so Smart Projection Planar, and I can work with different selection mode. So you have a basic selection mode that is working just on the selection. We will work on the Z-axis, and so it automatically hides the result. So I will just remove the auto hide function over here, and so you see now we have this area that is unwrapped over here. If I want to work with a different method, like selecting all those polygons that are basically pointing to the same direction, of course without this one, I can do this by just selecting one polygon and go to this planar projection, but click on this one and it will only work. Well, of course I have to do this probably at the center, and I have to work with the Z-axis, and you see that it just unwrapped this area. So all the touching polygons that are facing to the same direction in terms of normals have been unwrapped. But you have another one method that is even more better. So for instance, here on the object or on the layer, you can unwrap all the faces that are pointing to the same direction. So over here it selected this and this as well as those, right? So it's pretty quick, right? You have the automatic unwrap, repack set. So everything is correct. You have the same text identity all around. You don't have to mess up with this and too many clicks to get the result done. You can also as well remove the repack one if you prefer to. So for instance, I will do the same stuff again, but then you see that it overlaps those different elements, of course, because they are pointing to the same direction and they are overlapping from the Z perspective, right? If you want to do this on both sides, you can as well do this. So I can select both sides of this surface and do the planar projection on the Z-axis, but you see that now it didn't just overlap here, but you will get flipped areas. So I have the auto-fix flipped areas, so it's not visible. I will just make the repack on and the auto-fix off and do this again. You will see the result is different, and you will understand that, yeah, now we have flipped areas, and those, of course, as you can see on the text and the letters, they are flipped, right? So if you want to preserve this in an automatic way, you can just click here and get the auto-fix flipped UVs on. And so if I do this now again, I have to select both sides, of course. I can get them unwrapped, repacked, and auto-flipped all across. So I will do this with the auto hide, so this way it will be much more faster to work with the model. So it automatically hide and left off the things that needs to be processed. So I will do a few things here. So we've talked about the planar one. You have a free one that is just using, so for instance, I will just select those elements, remove the auto hide function, and so let's see, we have this selection selected, and I will just do a planar projection unwrap, planar projection with a free mode. So this one will just align to this selection the work plane and do a planar projection. So it put this over here. It's perfectly fine, but probably this one should be done with the axis. That's probably better. So let's see, we will work on another area with the auto loop rectangle. So the auto loop rectangle is pretty neat. I will just hide the rest and get this piece visible. So over here I select just 2 polygons, and in order to make the cut over here, it just basically select all the polygons and define that the cut edges will be here. So you can control this way the way the unwrap is done. For instance, if I just select those polygons and just do a cylindrical on the Z-axis on this selection, it will unwrap, right? Of course it does, but I don't have any control over the position of the cut, right? So over here it's doing over here because it's perfectly aligned with the Z direction. And so yeah, if I want to make the cut over here, I can just use the unwrap, rectangle, auto loop, and if I unhide, you see that the cut now is done over here between those 2 polygons. So it's up to you. You can change this as you wish. I personally prefer to make this on those areas, so I will do this over here as well. You can make multiple selections, so we have 2 selections, but not I can say here you can see that we have still 1 polygons between those 2 patches. It will not work this way, so I will just do this over here and do this as well on the holes over there. Do this as well over here. I'll probably remove visibility of the work plane. It will be better. Okay, so those, and this one as well, and the top one. So this way you can define where you want really the cut. That's perfectly fine because you can control how the UVs will be unwrapped. But this is pretty simple this way with just a selection like this. So I will go to the unwrap again, and you can even do a rectangle horizontal unwrap. I will probably do this differently, just for the purpose I will show this later on. Okay, so we are done, and things have been unwrapped and packed correctly. And so, for instance, yes, I will talk about this. Here I will make a selection, just this area, and I will do the unwrap rectangle, but with the vertical or the horizontal one. So this one is really interesting because actually it's not working on the auto loop method, but you can get the unwrap rectangleized and as well defined in terms of orientation. So I will do this probably with a bigger selection to make it sure it's visible onto the UV side and not auto hide things because we want to see the result. So unwrap and unwrap rectangle vertical, and you can see that this patch have been oriented and still rectangle, so it's perfectly simple this way to unwrap things and be sure that things are correctly oriented from the start. I will even select those, do the same stuff over here. I will not go further because this is not rectangleized. I mean, you cannot rectangleize this part. Okay, so we are good to go over here. I will grow the selection in loop. Okay, fairly good. So again, a rectangle, this time horizontal if I wish. And things are done. I will probably hide again and continue refining the unwrap. So let's see, we will hide the others and just select this area. I will not make a complete auto loop on this one because the patch will be really long and probably causing issue with the packing. It will be too big. So again, rectangle horizontal. It's hiding the rest. So I can select two elements, use loop to select the next one, and again rectangle horizontal, and we'll use also the auto loop one over here, and as well on those here. Okay. So those PCs are a floating one. If I double click, you see they are not connected, but they are stitched to the both sides of this piece. So onto those, I will use a different method, just an unwrap. Planar, conformal planar should be okay. So as you can see, those PCs are currently unwrapped and aligned correctly. So it's perfect good for that. And I will continue on the next areas. So probably select those as well and grow the selection. And unwrap this as well in rectangle mode. So here we have to make some cuts. and that's probably because I done the planar projection on the z-axis instead of the y-axis. Okay, let's see. Y-axis, then it's okay. Okay, that was this. Okay, so over here, planar projection, group normal, unwrap, group normal, done, then probably do this rectangle, vertical, and those also should be unwrapped. Okay. Okay, so we are good to go here, and we can as well, for instance, do a selection by a boundary and make a cut somewhere. So for instance, I can go here and just launch the unwrap as well, because it works also with the edges selection. So not rectangle, it's not a rectangle. We do this with group normal. And so everything is hidden, so it means that everything have been unwrapped. As you can see, the solution with the unwrap on this part is not that good. So probably the best solution over here is to select both sides over here and do a planar projection with an extension on the selection. So similar touching on the y-axis. And so now we have those pieces that are completely flat and correct, but of course those are not correct. So I will just select them into the UV space, double click to select everything. I missed those. And I will launch again the rectangle horizontal. And so now they are okay. I probably have to select some of those elements and orient them vertically, and the repack will be probably better. So I will open the UV tools. I missed those, they were already visible at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so normalize and pack, and we have these options now. We didn't need this. We can just normalize and pack everything, and we are good to go. We have fairly good unwrap on this area, on this element. We'll probably show this with a bigger UV grid, so 4K. It will better represent the texel density. Okay. So everything is okay, it's ready to be baked or anything, textured, and you have everything set. So probably we can maybe optimize things. We can probably select those edges and connect the corresponding elements. You see that those are there. We can reconnect the pieces if we want. So I will show the UV menu over here and click here, and so now this element is created, and there's no seam visible onto this area, just on those over here. You can as well connect to this element, but it will be probably too long, probably. Let's see. Okay, it seems to be fine. Okay, so we have this big piece now. As you can see, it's correctly unwrapped. Then we can repack. Okay, I have to select the object, normalize and pack. Yeah, it's fairly good. So we still have some areas where model cannot pack things, but yeah, it's fairly good at this time. We can send this to Rhythm UV as well as other packing kits. So yeah, we made a pretty good review on the UV tools. I hope you enjoy those new interface with the preferences exposed, as well as the smart production unwrap with the new icons. That's all. It's pretty simple now. We have set the UVs onto this mesh. Pretty simple, right? We'll continue on the next features.